Hi,
Welcome,
Tarun.
Jagriti. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. I think there is some echo. Oh my
Okay.
God, you're a Schmooze fan now.
Hello. Uh, okay. I'll just do an introduction for our audience.
Absolutely.
Uh, Introducing the extraordinary Vidya Madhavan, an alumnus of WITS Pilani campus from the batch of 2011, whose adventurous spirits and love for meme propelled her towards founding Schmooze, the trend-setting dating app that matches people based on meme preferences. She also has an MBA from Stanford University's Graduate School of Business. Vidya's entrepreneurial journey shines with a delightful fusion uh, of Whitsian charm and Stanford's innovative prowess. When she's not discussing startup space with her awesome memes, she is whistling whiz. She is a whistling whiz. She has been whistling since the age of 8 and was amongst the top 10 participants qualifying for the World Whistling Champion in Japan. Join us as we uncover the remarkable tale of her journey from the campus of BITS Pilani to being the founder of the fastest growing dating app. Uh,
Thank you. I don't know how you got all of this information, but very excited to be here, Tarun.
okay. I have a few questions. The first one is you were quite active in extracurricular activities at BITS. Apart from being involved in entrepreneurship, you also founded the Renewable Energy Club. You pursued debating and writing, an interest that you still continue to pursue with your blog 10EY. You also started women's cricket for the first time on campus, and you were also part of the Pilani Tamil Mandam, the Tamil Cultural Association, which I'm also currently part of. How did such a robust relationship with extracurricular activities in BITS help you in your future endeavors, from applying to Stanford to building Schmooze?
Yeah, so I think firstly, for me, my time at BITS was a lot about learning new skills. Um, so, funnily, like there are other things that I tried to do. Like I was part of the swimming team very briefly, qualified for music club, didn't really go. So I think my for me, time at BITS was about learning things that I had not known before. I had never written while I was in school, or let's say in terms of debating, that's something I would have done, but I realized that people around me at BITS were so much more better. And that's when, during my time, I started reading a lot more, started writing a lot just to see, like, can I pick up something new? So it was always about learning things that I didn't know before. We also tried to start up this company called Let's Sing that we had started up. We had a contract with MTV for doing their internet idol in India. So dabbled around with a bunch of things. How did that help? I mean, as I said, like since it was about acquiring new skills, each of these skills is something that has continued to help in the long run. And we have a few bits in interns here at Schmooze, and that's what I tell them also. I mean, PORs and other things are great. Maybe they're good resume building activities, but at the end of the day, what truly matters is what kind of skills did you acquire while you were in college.
And you were also an active participant at Jagriti Yatra. Can you
Yeah.
also mention a bit more about that?
Yeah, so Jagriti Yatra was a very, very interesting experience. The first time I tried to apply was when I was still in college. And if I remember the eligibility correctly, you had to be over the age of 20 or 21 or something at the time of application, which I was not. Including, I think when I was in fourth year, I would not have been 21. So I waited and applied again when I'd started work at McKinsey. One of my seniors at BITS had actually done Jagriti Yatra, and she had a lot of good things to say. So it was so amazing. This is like a 15-day train journey through different parts of India, portions of Bihar, Odisha, Madurai, so on and so forth. And it was so amazing because a bunch of what we saw during this train journey of Jagriti Yatra was primarily social enterprises, which at least if you have uh, been in the sort of circles that I've been, you rarely come across, because this it's a very
Yes.
capitalist world that I come from. So
Yes.
it was a very, I would say, eye-opening in a way, and also fun in another. Like imagine the 15-day Jagriti Yatra tour was in a train, right? It was just a complete train ride where
Yes.
there is a moving bathroom of sorts, uh,
Mhm.
and from that to meeting so many different people. There's 500 people from different parts of the country, from so many different backgrounds. Someone who was in my compartment, this girl had never gone to college, never, I mean, barely completed school, and still she was trying to build a social enterprise that employed women. There was
Mhm.
someone else who was very different, again, not like me, but this person was, again, a very underprivileged background, but she had kind of fought her way through, and had finally landed at IIT, I think IIT Kharagpur or something. So very interesting backgrounds. I think what you do mattered less than the different types of experiences that people had come from, and I got to experience a part of India that I had never been exposed to. So yes. I
That's
think
very
I think
interesting.
if some people get the opportunity to do it, I think everyone should do it, and be very open to. I mean, it's just 15 days, right? It's
Yes. Yes.
not 1 year, it's not 2 years, but 15 days. It's like a sort of a crash course.
Mm.
And my personal favorite in Jagriti Yatra was, there was this school called Kalkeri Vidyalaya, where they have music-led education for kids from underprivileged backgrounds. So you would see kids pick up music, like either vocal or instrumental parts of music right from the age of 3, and these kids were so outgoing. They were so clear in communication, and that's when we learned that, and maybe if you have seen my blogs, there's actually a blog on this, that when you actually learn performing arts at a very young age, uh, you kind of become a much more confident person, and
Yes.
seems to tap into many different parts of your intellect that, not participating in this doesn't help you, like, truly learn. So yeah, I came from a school of thought where I thought, you music, dance, these were probably like innate, inborn talent. But Kalkeri kind of altered that perception of mine, where they said, anyone can be taught music and anyone can be actually good at it. And we actually saw live performances. So very interesting, very heartwarming experiences.
That's very interesting. Now, moving on to the second question, Stanford is known for its selective admissions process. It seeks out students who have demonstrated exceptional interest and passion in the field that they're applying to. And I've also read that you're only applied to Stanford, which is extremely interesting. When did you decide to apply to Stanford, and how did you work to strengthen your chances of acceptance? How did you work to strengthen your application? And also, what are the differences you found between Stanford and BITS?
Sure. So this is a very interesting question. I mean, I was just sharing this with my co-founder. So why don't I share this with you? Throughout my life, I thought I'll go to IIM Ahmedabad.
Oh,
Ever, ever since I can remember, ever since like maybe some part of school, I didn't know where I would go for engineering, what I would do, but I always felt I'll go to IIM Ahmedabad. When I was on campus at BITS, my wallpaper of my computer was actually like, part of the IIM Ahmedabad campus for a long time. So I never thought, I never neither thought or aspired to actually go abroad, study and any of that. Had just grown up reading about so many illustrious alums from IIM Ahmedabad, and I really, really wanted to go there. But some things changed. I was the first person from BITS to actually go to McKinsey.
oh,
And
that's
the McKinsey offer letter interestingly said, business analyst is a 2-year program, and after 2 years, we expect you to, if I remember the words correctly, it was go pursue an MBA from a prestigious US business school. And I was
Okay.
like, what? Here are my other friends, wingies who were getting offer letters which said after 2 years you'll get promoted. And and this offer letter was talking about going to do an MBA from abroad. And that's when I started talking to more people. Of course, being the first person from our college, there was no precedence, there was no immediate senior that I could, reach out to and ask, like, hey, what is this? How does this work? Um, but that's when I reached out to my buddy at McKinsey and a few other people. So to mentally get prepared, oh, this is the normal thing to do. I mean, of course, not everyone has to do it, but it was more of a normal thing to do because at that point, McKinsey expected BAs to leave the firm. It was not a job where they expected you to stay and continue to become partner, which did change at some point. I mean, and now it's something called as path to partnership. So that's when I started first thinking about it. And again, most of my class or seniors that I'd seen or spoken to at McKinsey went to Harvard Business School. So that's the only data point that I sort of had. What changed was, see, two things. One is I've loved loved dabbling in the world of startups, and as I said, like literally even from my first year on campus, I've always tried to build something or the other. One of them manifested at Let's Sing, but there were other ideas that were tried, tested, and discarded. So even at McKinsey, I tried really hard to get into this project, which was one of McKinsey's first startup clients in India. So the startup theme always existed, which was not something that most business schools in US would have had. Would have also placed me at a better place to experience. But then I worked on this project where we were serving this startup client of McKinsey, right? On that project, my manager was from Stanford GSB, and they were like, we were sitting and we were having lunch, and he asked me, what do you want to do? I sort of said, I want to do something that's not done before. I don't remember the exact line, but I said that, and his eyes just glowed, and I was like, what happened? His name was Puneet, so I asked him, what happened, Puneet? Like, why are you so shocked? And he said, you know what, like, I went to Stanford, right? And this is actually what's written in our cornerstone. So the
Oh.
words go like, dedicated to the things that haven't happened yet and the people who are about to dream them up. So that was literally the first time I heard of, oh, so Stanford MBA program and whatever. But very interesting to for me to see and hear that almost, the sentence that I told him, uh, plus minus like 2 3 words, was actually there in Stanford's cornerstone. And he said, you should so go to this school. We'll figure out how to get you in and so on. So that's when I started reading more about the school, figured, oh wow, this is also seems to be a school which helps you, which has that ecosystem of entrepreneurship, which I have been anyway excited about. So that is when the journey began. And I think coincidentally or not, my bosses ended up being from the same school. So they sort of helped me through the application. But I think the love for entrepreneurship and something about the cornerstone, because later on someone else asked me, what if some other college had that cornerstone and not Stanford? I said, like, I would have been excited. Like, I never said I wanted to go to this school. I felt always that I'll go to IIM Ahmedabad. I never felt always that I'll go to Stanford. But the love, the excitement, and the fascination began from that point onwards, when both Puneet and I were equally surprised for those 2 minutes sitting on the lunch table, saying like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" So yeah, that's when the journey of maybe this is the school I should think about started.
What are the differences you found between Stanford and BITS?
Very interesting question. So I often talk to my wingies and I say, I think Stanford is like bits, but with attendance, and
Okay, okay.
and a poor course registration system.
Oh,
But no, I mean, I think I loved the PR system that existed at Bits, and I mean, it was very smooth. I don't know why the register. I always had this feeling that I was registering for some course or the other once every 2 weeks. But I think jokes apart, one major difference which also that also made me think very hard about Stanford as the school I wanted to go to was ecosystem. I think what we fundamentally lacked when I was building Let's Sing at BITS was the ecosystem. Of course, I think our college is well placed in terms of um, the student inclination towards startups. Of course, if you're in the girls' hostel, and I've spoken to other people about this, if you are fundamentally, yes, Bitsians are on an average way more into startups, building, trying, failing, and all of that. But if you come to the girls' hostel, or at least when I was around, like Meera Bhavan, no one was talking about startups. When I went for CL recruitment in my first year, I was the only girl writing the whatever recruitment thing
Okay.
in a class in this LTC hall full of guys, right? So that I mean, it was different in Meera Bhavan, but fundamentally, I think everyone on campus was excited, was talking about startups to us to some extent. And of course, we had so many seniors and role models to look up to also, which probably made that happen. But Pilani being such a remote location was a huge disadvantage. Today again, like I might feel like a grandmother saying this, but today, with Zoom calls and imagine this Google Meet, we could have you might have been on campus giving your compre, and your last day of compre we would have still connected. That was not possible when we were building Let's Sing. So
Okay.
I had to literally travel from Pilani to Bombay or Pilani to Delhi for every customer, every college that we were trying to onboard. And that just made me feel that, hey, ecosystem wise, we were not placed in the right geography. Whereas Stanford is so different. If I have to meet a VC, if I have to meet anyone, particularly in the tech ecosystem that's relevant to me, being on Stanford campus is so advantageous. Even you don't even need to step out for a meeting. People will come
Yes.
inside Stanford to meet you because it's so common that there are few coffee shops where every VC meeting happens. So that's so different, right? Like you are right in the middle of where the action happens. I,
Yes.
I won't even compare Stanford to Bangalore because, like, if you go outside the Stanford campus, there is a lane, there is a road where you will probably see each and every large VC fund that ever exists on that street. So ecosystem wise, it's very different. Again, like, if you have to go to SF where large tech companies, mid to large tech companies exist, which might be your potential clients if you're building something in the B2B space, again, like a 40-minute car ride, right? But
Yes.
from Pilani to humanity or mankind is like some 6 7 hour ride, and that will also again just take you to a Delhi or Jaipur. From
Yes.
there on, you have to travel to wherever. So that has been a huge difference. Otherwise, I think there was something in the air in both places. People in general were more excited about entrepreneurship in both the schools. So I think those were some very good things.
That's very interesting because setting a benchmark for your juniors is a especially hard thing to do, and having that mindset of doing something new that early on is uh, extremely interesting to see such a fresh perspective. Because nowadays people just uh, s- go for things that people have already done because everyone's going for CS, everyone's going for startup for that particular uh, place that people have already done. So it's really interesting to see a new perspective. Now, the next question is Schmooze is a successful meme-based dating app. Can you share the inspiration behind such a creative idea? What were any personal experiences or interests that led to building Schmooze?
Yeah, sure. It's a very interesting and funny journey actually. So as I said, like I've been trying to build something or the other all these years. When I was at Stanford, many of my classmates used to keep going on dates, and they used to say the date was so boring. Every weekend, that's what many of them are doing. I was talking to one of my closest friends from BITS, and she spoke about someone she's been dating for so long, and she said, but यार मजा नहीं आता, उसके पास है ना सेंस ऑफ ह्यूमर नहीं है। I said like what are you saying, you've been dating this guy for so long and sense of humor nahi hai, but she said no, I think it's really important in our relationship, and she said don't you think so, tera bhi to aise hi hai. So I said yeah that's true, but you know, you've been dating for so long. And that's when Raghav, my husband, and I were talking, and we realized that, you know, our relationship is so based on humor.
Yes.
uh, After our first, literally, our first exchange, which was so formal over a few emails, it turned into over 150 emails which had memes and jokes. So
Okay.
that's been like the foundation of our own relationship. And I think fast forward to now, even if we argue or fight about something, you know, one of us cracks a joke, and things just change.
Yes.
So that's when this idea came up. I was like, okay, so looks like there is way more to this. And I think women in particular list humor as one of the top three things they're looking for in a guy.
Okay.
But what other dating apps do, you know, is if 80% of your phone screen is occupied by someone's photo, obviously that date is going to be boring, right? Like, then you just
Yes.
want to look at the person. How will you enjoy the date? So that's where the idea came from. And then I did a little bit of research and thinking also, where we realized that the beauty of memes is way more than just a joke. By looking at a meme, you can say so much more. Like, if I might like physics memes, but you might like political memes, because that shows what your interest is. And what
Yes.
type of humor do you like? Do you like dark humor? Do you like puns? Do you like wholesome stuff? Says so much more about you as a person, that we said, okay, this seems logically very right. Now let's just put this out and see if more people think so. So we built out an MVP, released the product, and I mean, you know, the rest is history. Uh,
Yes.
and yeah, but then there's a Stanford professor who's also done her research on memes and relationships. So she says,
Okay.
exchanging memes, having similar taste of humor, is a great indicator of both people who would get into relationships, like new relationships. It increases the odds of new successful relationships, and two, it also increases the longevity of your relationship. So this is, of course, these are things that we discovered later on, to see, hey, is this just like a cool, fun, quirky thing, or is there more basis to what we're building? But yeah, you should go check this out. It's like a very funny article. You'll find somewhere. If you Google, you'll find it's like
Yes.
some Stanford
I,
professor doing this research. Yeah.
I'll definitely check that out. It's very interesting to see. Schmooze. Now Schmooze is also backed by investors from Snapchat, Hinge, and Jiffy. That in itself is very interesting. How did you approach and convince these investors to support your vision? Additionally, could you also share a few challenges you faced during various stages of building the startup and how you managed to overcome them?
Sure. So, firstly, like just a small correction, not investors from these companies. Actually, like we have common investors.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what it is. Uh, I think, I mean, building a startup, there are so many challenges on a daily basis. Let me see which of them are top of mind. Um, I think for me, fundamentally, fundraising in US was a little hard. Though we were doing really well, we had acquired like 10,000 users in 5 weeks, almost organically. We had hardly spent any money doing this. But you know, there's this, and this is like the peak fundraising sort of time, right? Like 2021, where everyone
Yes.
was raising money. But I think, as someone who was not Native American, coming from outside and trying to build a consumer company in US, I did find challenges in raising money. I feel if it was someone else who was probably either born and raised, or like at least had stayed longer in US and was doing this exactly same things as we did, probably would have raised sooner. So that was definitely one piece. What else? What else? There are so many more, man. Like on a day-to-day basis, I think managing a team which is split across India and US is hard. Before that, obviously, like every other company during COVID, we were remote. Uh, I hate remote work. I hate remote
Okay.
work. I mean, it might work for large companies, nothing against that, but you know, large companies also spend good amount of time just doing meetings. So fine, you can do that from wherever. but early stage startups, especially consumer tech startups, I fundamentally believe should not be remote, because you need so many rapid iterations. Like, so right now I'm in office, it's Saturday, and like everyone is I can see everyone in front of this conference room. But imagine, like, right after this I have an idea that I want to discuss with my co-founder. I'll just like walk across the table, we'll discuss. Then we want some data, we'll just pull this analytics girl and she's going to give some answers. So this rapid iteration, and then let's say the marketing guy overhears what we are discussing and he has a new idea. He says, "Acha, let me do so and so campaign on social media," right? Like, so these kind of spontaneous, very very quick things, very quick iterations, cannot. I mean, in retrospect, you can say like, yeah, why did it take you some time to realize this? But we were probably one of the very early adopters of, hey, like, it's okay, we might not attract great talent, but we are going to be in person. So we've always had like a couple of offices, one in New York and the other here in Bangalore. But still, the challenging part here is working on folks on both sides. So we do our product development, design, and stuff here in India, and marketing for the US product in US. And of course, as we launch India, only in India. But yeah, I mean, it almost feels like you're working throughout the day, right? I was joking with one of our investors. I said people say they wake up. I forget the joke anyway. It was a nice joke. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, someone said this to me, like, I wake up with a purpose, and I went like, I wake up just with problems, because in the morning when I wake up, there are like so many Slack messages from the India team, which almost feels like you never did anything the last night when you slept, and then when you're going to bed at night, it's again the same. You're giving, like, you've just finished work with the US team, you're sending so many things to India folks. They're woken up, you have a meeting, so it feels like, oh, the day's just begun. Why are you going to bed? So
Yes.
the round the clock thing has been tough, but otherwise, I mean, very day to day ups and downs of building a startup.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I personally hated online school because our batch was 2 years of total online preparation for JEE and BITSAT, and we hated because we couldn't see our friends, we couldn't see the teacher. It was all either G or Zoom. It was a very sad 2 years. I can't imagine how building a great startup would have felt like in that time. Also, BITS has a great startup culture, right? Many students are spending a lot of time on campus, working on ideas, hiring new people, and building their startup. As a BITS alumnus, is there any general advice on how students can use their resources at college effectively to build their startup?
This is a great question. I would say like two things, right? One, I have a word of caution actually before I start with the advice part. The word of caution is, again, like, FOMO is real.
Hmm.
Uh, while I've said about the startup ecosystem at Bits and whatnot, it was not so high. Not everyone was trying to start up when we were on campus. My co-founder Abhinav was himself part of 3 student startups on campus at that time. I was building one, but there was that general acceptance, but there was no race for everyone to build startups. We were finalists for CEL's startup competition, but the VC funds on that panel, like, they don't even exist anymore. So, but today, if you see, for the same sort of competitions, every top fund as wants to be on that panel at Bits today. So that's these things are fundamentally changed. So of course, I am going to talk with that in mind. But FOMO is real. I don't think startups are for everyone. um,
Hmm.
I don't think people should, make this a resume point to say, "Oh, I tried to build a startup. Oh, I failed," because I think college is a very special time.
Yes.
Especially, I think the time at Bits is even more precious because of the 0% attendance.
Yes.
Um, Tarun, though, I have to again like admit, I love the 0% attendance. I mean, I used to talk about it so much when I was on campus, and I continue to do, but I probably had 102% attendance. I have attended
Okay.
classes, not even mine, just for fun. So, uh,
Okay, that's very
I
interesting.
mean, you can do all of this and you still have a lot of time on campus, right? But the truth is, again, what I mean to say is FOMO is real. I think people have to realize what appeals to them. College is a special time to explore interests, to pursue things, to learn new skills, to make friends. Again, like I don't want to come to the make friends thing because those are things that people are anyway doing. But this experience is not going to come back. Your masters, your PhD, your MBA, whatever, is not at all going to be similar as an experience. People are not going to be the same. These four very carefree years of letting yourself being molded are very important and precious. So I don't think startups are for everyone, and everyone should get into the race of, I built this and I failed this. So I think only folks who are truly interested or feel like, hey, let me explore, ये startup क्या होता है, am I going to do something and learn. Firstly, only these folks should try. The others should figure out, okay, what do they want to learn, instead of trying to build that resume point. Now, what advice would I give? I think, hmm, so. Couple of things. I think our college is students in our college are blessed by a very strong alumni pool of people who have before them who have tried to achieve things, and who would be more than happy and excited to help juniors out. Of course, different founders are in different stages of startup building and may or may not have as much time. But I think they should definitely reach out to seniors before them. And I would say, like, when I was preparing for McKinsey interview, I've reached out to so many Bitsians. I've never known these people before, but I mean, they've so many people have helped me in that process. I'm sure even founders would be more than excited to help current students in their journey. So they should definitely do that. Of course, if you reach out to 100 people, maybe 10 people will respond, right? But that's fine. That's how funnels work.
Yes.
um, so I think definitely take an advantage of that. And the second thing is actually do something. Like, definitely don't get into the idea of, where if I build this, there are competitors. Oh, what if they do this? What if they do that? Like, don't get into the analysis paralysis sort of a zone. Truly try to build something. Either you should code or get your other person to code, whatever it is, but build. Try to distribute, try to grow. Only then will you learn. And very few special people will actually end up building something that lasts the test of time. I think Pixel has done such an amazing job. Who would have imagined that a deep tech company is built by such young people, not by someone, some senior scientist sitting in the Bay Area for over so many years. So I think, truly try to build something, learn from that, try to distribute, try to grow. And if you're lucky and if you've done a great job, then you actually have a real company in your hands.
Yes. It's very interesting that you mentioned Pixel because one of my club seniors, he has recently got a job at Pixel, and he mentioned that since the founder was a BITS alumni, said he told asked him to give his formal introduction first. So it's like, and he mentioned that that's why he got the job because he gave that formal introduction at that particular moment without stopping, like it's supposed to be. Wits
Very nice.
really is blessed with such a great alumni pool. Now, also on a much lighter note, how did you convince Sandeep Acharya to train online for your start, let's say, that you founded on campus? And how did you come up with the idea of Internet Title?
Sorry, can you repeat, Tarun?
On a much lighter note, how did you convince Sandeep Acharya to train online for your startup, let's say?
Okay, so I have no idea where you're pulling all of this information from, but let me answer that question. So when I was in school, oh my God, this is like really going back in time. But anyway, when I was in school, there was the first version, the pilot version of Indian Idol Junior competition. Um, and I didn't even know about this. It was just me, and I used to play cricket. And all of my cricket friends said they're not going to play cricket that day because there's like some mall near our house, and they were giving out free ice creams. So they said they were like, "You're getting some nice ice cream, some foreign brand ice cream, so we have to all go. It's free." So I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll also come. I mean, if you're not playing, what will we do?" I also went with them. That's when we realized the ice creams were actually a trap. It was for this. It was like part of hype creation for this first edition of Indian Idol Junior thing. They were piloting it out. So then I put down my name for the competition thing. So Sandeep Acharya was a judge for the competition. So I came first. That's
Oh,
how I came to know him. Yeah. So then I just reached out to him when we were building Let's Sing. So
okay.
that's the story. But yes, that's the
Uh,
story.
I have a few additional more light-hearted, fun questions. First one is, as a founder of Schmooze, we must know what's your all-time favorite meme that never fails to make you laugh or smile.
Interesting. So, laugh or smile. I'll tell you the meme that makes me think and that actually represents me also. There's this nice meme which is about like perseverance. Okay. The meme goes like this: one person who was continuously digging, and there's like
Ah, yes,
mine,
yes,
and this person is like just one more shot of digging away, and he goes back. Uh,
yes,
and
that,
there's another person who does not seem to be giving up. You got the point, right? Like so
yes, I got the point.
perseverance, and this is the meme that we shared in our office last evening. So top of my mind, I like it. It's both funny and very hard hitting, very real.
Yes. If you could trade memes with another famous tech founder or CEO, who would it be and what meme would you share?
Interesting. I think I would pick Brian Chesky. I think very inspirational. I love the journey of Airbnb, and I think they've done such an amazing job. So yes, it would be Brian Chesky. What meme would it be? I think maybe this one, because the
Okay.
Airbnb guys. I think they tried so much. They did so many things before Airbnb took off, right? So again, the same
Hmm.
example of like persevering and not giving up till you unravel the gold mine.
Okay. And now, final question. Let's put your creative skills to the test. I'll show you a random meme, and then you'll have to come up with a hilarious caption on the spot. I'll
Okay.
share my screen now. Are you ready?
Sure. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. 1 second. Yes, you can choose. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
You can choose any of them.
Oh my God. I think the Batman thing is almost like Barbenheimer,
Yes.
helping people with the ticket rates.
Oh,
Which one? Which one? I think the distracted boyfriend, Drake, they're all like
famous
very
ones.
overused. We had
Yes.
one for Change the Mind. We said Schmooze is the best dating app. Change my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
um, what else? What else? The big one and the small one that almost reminds me of OpenAI and Google now. Yeah, I think with whatever I told you about 102% attendance at BITS, it's almost feeling like I'll pick the expanding brain meme and go like students in other
Oh,
colleges, then like student at BITS with 0% attendance, and I will be like shit, student in
okay.
a 0% attendance college with 100% attendance. Like, come on.
The,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Uh, Thanks a lot for participating in this rapid fire round. I think we'll wrap up the podcast now. Thanks a lot for joining in, for responding so quickly when certain my relationship reached out. We are very grateful to have had you on our podcast. Uh, I don't know how to end this.